who, 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 who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Appreciate y'all joining us. It's the 1-1 Sports Show. What's up, Coach?
What's up, Shawnee, man? How you doing, man?
Fine.
Excited today.
So we probably have Dante may be able to get in. He's on the road from work. And I believe Mr. Bennett, he's currently in a different country, so he may be able to peek in from time to time, but we'll see. It looks like it'll be, for the most part, me and you today, Coach.
For sure. You know, Brother Bennett's probably still flying over the airways, man. I think he left out early this morning. Hope he have a safe travel. You know, him and his family, man, make it back to us safe, man. So be safe out there, man.
Safe travels to Mr. Bennett out there. So
let's get into it.
Y'all probably see on the title, you know, it's y'all favorite team we about to discuss. But this time, you know, y'all have pretty much free reigns to trash them. You know, so we have this first topic we're gonna get into today is this Cowboys, and in particular this Cowboys defense. So let me remind everybody. I get a reminder on the scoreboard from their game this past weekend. They lost to the Bears in a humiliating way. I forgot the official score, so I'm going back. They lost to them 31-14, and they had a chance to at least cut it to a one possession game, but you know Pickens had a huge drop. So Lamb went out early in the game with a sprained ankle. I didn't care too much about the play call, in particular the formation, by having him lined up in the backfield. You know, now if it would have been like a reversal or whatnot to a receiver or whatnot, but they actually had him in the backfield, especially even though it was early in the game, you saw the Cowboys running backs was actually doing pretty good. They just got taken out the game because the defense couldn't stop nobody. So, they just had to throw. So they lost Lamb early in the game, and I knew immediately that's going to affect the offense. I was hoping that Pickens will be able to show that, okay, you want to be a number one receiver. Well, it's not going to be with the Cowboys, but most likely he's only a rental. He's probably going to be on a different team, when it's come for his contract. But he went MIA until he made that one-handed catch in the end zone. And then he was just nowhere to be found for the rest of the game until he had that huge drop in the fourth quarter. And the other receivers, it's just a huge drop-off from Lamb. Then you got Pickens right beneath them. And then it's just a huge drop-off to the other receivers after that. They couldn't even get open. That's why Dak had to keep throwing it to the tight end, because I remember one particular play, it looked like Dak was trying to load up to go deep. And at the last second, he had to go underneath the Ferguson. And you could see him motioning to somebody, like, your eyes, look for the ball. And I believe that was to Turpin. Turpin, like, he was just out there just running. Wasn't even looking back at Dak, so he just couldn't throw the ball. And so I'm like, yeah, it's going to be one type of games. And news came out after the game that Lamb going to be out for at least 3 to 4 weeks, which I expected. I don't know what he was talking about he'll be back next week. That was a vicious ankle sprain. But then we flip it on the other side of the football, man. This defense, man, they can't stop anything. Man. They just basically, it gets to the point now, if you play fantasy football Just go with the team's opposed. They starting quarterback versus that defense. They gonna light them up. They gonna light them up. It was like Eberflus has them on zone defense all the time, and they constantly looking lost. Constantly looking lost. Dudes wide open. Just Williams able to have a nice pitch and catch to receivers who had no defender within like 7 yards of them. So, Coach, what was your thoughts on that game? It was terrible, if you ask me.
Let me start out by saying this. Are you Cowboy crying ass Cowboy fans so damn what? Listen, one with the offense. What was the one thing
Even
they
the
said
dog
that
get
they
into
was,
it, huh?
what was the one thing they said they was going to improve on this year? Running the ball. They don't run the ball enough. Even when you're down by a touchdown or two, don't mean you just got to resort to pass. You want to throw these little 2 yard flats and man, run the ball for 2 yards. You can get 2 yards. I think the line hasn't stepped up. Tyler Guyton, he made some crucial mistakes. You already mentioned Pickens making crucial mistakes and dropping the ball and making some other. I think he had had a couple of dumb mental mistakes. It goes to show how discombobulated the team is starting to get now that Micah Parsons is not there. Even on defense, some of those plays, you know, I think Diggs got hurt for a while. Nobody's really stepping up for Dallas, and it's starting to show. I think we're going to see them disintegrate right before our eyes with CD Lamb being out. Pickens has to step up. Jerry Jones, he's the GM. Will he make a trade? Will he get some more, key players to come in and make a difference? Right now, everybody's looking slow. To me, everybody's looking out of whack. So I'm surprised that the Bears beat them the way they did. I thought the Cowboys would at least come to play a little tougher game, but they just look soft, man. Right now, everybody just looking out of whack. They look soft and unorganized to me.
I knew the defense was going to be shady. I thought, if anything, it may have been potential of just being a shootout. Because I believe the Cowboys' offense is legit. They just can't lose no pieces, and then they'll fall apart. So not only did they lost Lamb, they also lost who's that? They right tackle Tyler Guyton, and they already had their center BB
What's
out
wrong
as
with Tyler
well.
Gayton? He was playing fine the
He
other day. Oh
was it
man,
his knee?
was he their
Nah,
best lineman for real? He's
no,
only
Tyler.
like a second.
Not Tyler Smith is their best lineman.
Yeah,
He's the
okay.
one who got the re-up after they traded Parsons. Tyler Smith he's the truth, but it's the three Tylers. Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker. But
No wonder. No wonder they lose. Too many
so
Tylers on the line.
yeah, so Guyton he's out now. So that's two starting linemen that's going to be out versus the Packers next week or this week, and yeah, and they got Lamb. So they who knows what they running game was actually doing pretty good. I think at one time they was averaging like damn near almost 7 yards a carry one time, 5 to 7 yards, but they couldn't run no more because they was just running out of running the ball is it uses the clock, and that was just not their friend anymore because the defense just literally just kept scoring, them giving up scores, so they had to pass. They couldn't just control the clock. They was always coming from behind, so it kind of took the running game out the picture.
Sonny,
But
wasn't the game sort of close in the first half? I thought it was close in the first half.
it
What was it down about?
let me
Point or two,
see,
12.
it was at
So
halftime.
it
It
just fell
was
apart in the third.
14 to 24 by halftime, which is
Okay,
still
yeah,
close enough. The running game should have been in, but then when it all changed, when they gave up the touchdown in the third, and they just couldn't get back because Lamb was out, and they just had no more consistency on offense, and they started getting like three and outs. Receivers just couldn't get open, so it just got out of whack once the second half came. I think it was a big. Besides, was it Pickens' interception was dropped? Pass for the interception changed the whole momentum of that game. But going back, because I know everybody, and right now, especially you're gonna hear a lot of. I'm already hearing a lot of it now because of the team that's coming in to play. everybody is bringing up the Micah Parsons thing, and they traded it. My whole thing is, okay, yes, Micah Parsons is a generational player, but they had a bad defense even with him. I mean, he just had sacks from time to time, but I know last year he was injured, and then even when he came back, did it improve? It gave him a shot in the arm. It gave him a shot in the arm, but it wasn't really. It didn't improve anything. I guess black man putting this weird man up here now, but it didn't improve anything because they still had a bad defense. So he would get his sacks, but the secondary was still just giving up pass plays and whatnot. So as I've mentioned many times, the Cowboys have shown that they will not participate in free agency. So you only give yourself one chance to really build a team, and that's through the draft. So if they constantly complain, and even before they traded that Parsons, if they constantly complaining about cap, it's really gonna get tight once if they were to re-sign Parsons. So I mean, it was just trading for Parsons to getting. What's up, Mr. Bennett?
Hey, can you
You
hear
like
me?
you coming? Yeah, we can hear you. Look like you coming from up from the tip of the spear.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks that way. Yeah. So I'm in another country, so this is my first time dealing with international streaming and the like. So I'm trying to so if you guys see me, if I go in and out or whatever, blame it on the Wi-Fi, blame it on the stuff here. But definitely want to see if I could be a part of the show. We're pretty wiped out. We've been up since 3 a.m. the previous day, so we're pretty wiped.
Oh,
But I figured I'd
you're
get on
using that
here a minute
Nipper
just to
network
chop it
over
up with
there.
you guys a little bit.
You're using that Nipper network over there.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
struggling a little bit for
Timu.
sure.
That's Timu internet. That's a
Yeah,
Timu internet.
Yeah, but now, Mr.
that's
Ben, we were
Timo.
just talking about
That's Timo Internet. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
we were just going over, giving people a chance to bash these Cowboys, in particular that defensive play that they had against the Bears. And I brought it to the point. It got to the point where if you're a fantasy
Yeah,
football player, if you just start the opposing quarterback, and you'll get some points because that defense can't stop. I think they giving up 30 points a game, so they not stopping anybody. But I know, and I was bringing up the coach right when you joined that, and I've been hearing it a whole lot this week because of who they about to play next week about Micah Parsons, and it's just like a low hanging fruit because Parsons, even though he's a generational player, it's not like his play was leading the Cowboys to wins. So I'm under the belief that if just by trading Parsons, you need more draft picks only because you refuse to build that team any other way. Unlike franchises like the Eagles or the Ravens, if they see a weakness, they will go about addressing it, both free agents and via the draft. They will address their weaknesses. Cowboys do not. And you literally build your team only one way, and you literally been banging your head against the same wall for like over the past decade. That was with including Parsons. So to me, it's not a Parsons being traded thing. It's a Cowboys philosophy thing. This has been going on for multiple years, and I believe they continue going on addressing the team and building the team in the manner they have been over the past decade plus. We're going to be seeing the same thing. I believe the Cowboys need better players, but they need more than just Parsons. They need players all around, as you can see. They need linebackers. I mean, you got Oberson who could be coming back, but I don't know when because he had that knee injury. But they need linebackers. They need corners. They just need players all around.
Shane,
So,
I think it's just coaching. I think Cowboys. I think they have the
but
players. I think when you have a GM like Jerry Jones, a owner who's out there doing practices and standing up, I think it puts a lot of pressure on the coaches. And you've seen it with the coaches who had success and they were still ousted by Jerry Jones. It seemed like right in the middle of the team having success. So I really think it's just right now it's just coaching. I don't think as far as you can. I think they're one of the teams that Jerry Jones is the beginning and the end of decision making. So you can't really just get. I don't know.
Well, if you
Bad
what's up, Hank? He said if I need he's there if I need a hug. I already accepted the Cowboys' fate for the longest because, like I mentioned, they need to change the philosophy. If you watch the Cowboys documentary, you saw Stephen Jones at the end. He actually kind of got emotional. He's not gonna really push to take the reins of the team. He's gonna leave that with his dad as
play.
long as he
Okay.
can. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. They was like, I
Okay.
don't know if it's your, I don't even know if you have a decision. Even though he has been getting more power or more say so, I should say, in the team over the past year, but I don't think if Jared don't want you to give it a team, I don't think he's gonna give it a team. It's just simple as that. But yeah, it's a change of philosophy to me. I mean, it was the same with Parsons. It continues to be the same without Parsons. The defense had multiple coordinators, and they just all go bad. They may have 1 year where you may think, oh, they turned the corner, and then immediately the next year they have like 2 or 3 straight seasons where they just bad. So it's a players thing to me because no matter what coach they throw back there, it's just have the same issue. They don't have the players, and if you would have signed Parsons, then that noise about we don't have enough for the cap, we have enough for the cap, it just got louder. So it don't bother me that they traded Parsons. Like I mentioned before, if they would have traded Parsons, Lamb, and Dak just to get more draft picks, which all three of them would have gained them a whole lot of first round picks. Because it'll be very hard to have you paying three top of the market players, and then Stephen Jones will never shut up about the cap. So it's like you put yourself in a hole. You don't build through the draft. Now, if we talking about the Eagles or the Ravens, think about the holes. If there was a hole that they saw during season, they addressed it, whether it was via the draft or free agency. Cowboys don't do like that, so that's why the whole Parsons thing is just low hanging fruit. It's easy for people to grab, but they was doing the same thing before Parsons. They going to continue to
Hey,
do the same
Shawnee.
thing after. Yeah. Oh, look, got a delay.
Hey,
Yeah.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah,
now.
you got like a 5 second delay though.
Delay still. Okay. Question. All right. Okay. Question. When has Jerry Jones ever prioritized building a strong defense with the Cowboys? The last time the Cowboys had a good defense, you may have to go back to the Doomsday defense of the 70s. But think about it. Ever since he's owned the Cowboys, he's gotten players. He went out, he got Prime. He went out and he got certain edge rushers. We just had Parsons. But has Jerry ever committed himself to saying that he's going to build a top 10, top five defense? It doesn't seem like that's his thing. Just in Jerry Jones' mind, offense and having stars on offense seems to be more his priority than building a defense. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, he don't do it that much because it's offense with him. Yeah, but he did when he got Prime. Cause remember he had Charles Haley and whatnot, and Prime was just such a factor when he was with the 49ers. He just had to get him. And Irvin even mentioned that he was the prime one of the prime reasons why they was able to attract him to Dallas. Uh, I believe he tried last time he really tried to invest free agent money was when he signed Brandon Carr. He was a highly touted free agent at the time, cornerback, and when he signed Brandon Carr to a nice deal, it basically just flopped on him. And ever since then, he
Hmm.
does not like to. That was way back in what 2013. Ever since then, he does not like to give free agent money. Literally, that last time, um, he tried to. They only do it during the draft, so they obviously they have a hard time drafting defensive tackle. Taco Charlton, uh, the last one, damn, I can't remember his name because he don't even really play no more. They had a cornerback. that they drafted from
Well, I know.
Utah.
Well, I know they. Well, I know they had that. I know they had that linebacker, right? Who retired?
Oh, Smith.
He had all these injuries, shoulder injuries and whatnot. No. Who's the white linebacker? Who was this guy's name?
Oh, it was actually you talking about Van Der Esch. It was him and Jalen Smith. They drafted them
Yeah.
together. Jalen Smith had that leg, and
Yeah.
2018 you saw
Right.
the peak of it. That's when they, oh, okay, this is going to be a nice linebacker group, and then they just fell off. So they had players. Scam likely mentioned Sean Lee. They drafted good players, and they tried to go, but it's only via the draft. That's why it's hard to really remember because they only drafted players via the draft. Some hit, many did not. So it it's a hit and miss, but it's like they will put all their weight on one player. Meanwhile, you got 10 more on defense, and they just, you know, Diggs, they thought he was going to be something. That's why they gave him the money as cornerback, and he's the main one right now getting burnt. Now, people say he's not 100% healthy. I don't know. But you see Scam likely bringing up some names. Byron Jones, that was the corner I was thinking about. Byron Jones. He bringing up some names, but it's a piece at a time. Like I say, that because they build the team like that, that's how they go about building the team. It's like you may hit on one piece, you may not. But since they do not participate in free agency, you never really see the piece come together. So, I mean, it's like 50-50. Do Jerry focus on defense? He does, but only via the draft. And it's like you just kicking the can down the road because this player may hit, this player may not. They may show a sign here in one season, next thing you know they don't. So now you got to refill the spot. That's what happened with Smith and Van Der Esch. Van Der Esch with the neck injury. It just kicks the can down the road. So obviously it's not working. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't work. They need to change the philosophy.
But think about how much he spends on 2 to 3 players. So he can't afford no highly sought out free agent. He has to go through the
Exactly.
draft, and that's his
Exactly.
problem.
And it
He's a
would have been
bad
worse if they
GM.
got Parsons. That's my whole thing, coach. It would have been worse if he would have signed Parsons because then he would have had 3 players that he's playing literally top of the market dollars to,
Hmm.
and he really won't be able to participate in free agency then. That's why I'm not tripping about Parsons being traded. Like you left yourself no choice. You only build a team one way. So what else you gonna do? So
And I'll say this: Dallas won't win 5 games if they don't start running the ball. I don't give a damn how much Dak throws the ball. If they don't start running the ball, especially now, they won't have no chemistry going
well,
into
they
the heart
showing
of the
some
season.
improvement this year.
But they need to run it all the way through the game. At least don't. Like I said, they was in Chicago. The weather's nice. You're supposed to run the ball on Chicago. You don't. Yeah, teams that start going to a passing frenzy, just down by a touchdown. It never works out.
Because Javante Williams, he's
Mhm.
shown he's been a definitely a shining point for them this year. It's just because they defense so bad, they next thing you know they look up they down 14 plus points, and so fourth quarter kind of takes away the running game. So now they can't
Mhm.
the clock is their enemy now, so they got to score fast, score fast. So Dak is to the point he literally has to score when the defense allows a score. So it's they running game is actually pretty decent this year, but I don't know how it's going to be like now because they lost 2 starting linemen. So it is what it is with Cowboys. I don't really get too much emotional behind them no more because they've been doing the same thing every year for the past over a decade. I just like I say, until they have a change of philosophy, I don't know.
Johnny, they've been doing the same thing since they won their last Super Bowl. Let's be real. They've been doing the same thing since their last Super Bowl. So
Well,
Exactly.
shout
guys,
out.
I just want to troll just a little bit. I mean, obviously, to satisfy the Cowboy trollers, as well as for Hank. Shout out to Hank for being in the building tonight. Also, yes, his boy who he gave up on. You see how quick Hank was able to was trashing his quarterback, but certainly had a breakout game. 298 for 4 TDs, no turnovers, and so certainly hopefully this will be the sign of something good for him and the Bears going forward, getting the first win for their head coach. But I just wanted to kind of show that before we got to the next house. But listen, with my struggle streaming the way it is tonight, I don't know how long I'm going to be on. I don't want to slow down the show. So if you guys would allow, let me just do my kind of quick three and out, and I'll jump off the stage. You guys can take the conversation wherever you want it. But I just wanted to kind of, share a couple things before I go. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you're fine now, though.
Okay, awesome.
You right
Okay,
on time.
okay. Okay, awesome. So just given the landscape, just seeing we're in week three so far. So you have some teams that are undefeated. Less surprisingly, so I don't think anybody went into this season thinking that the Colts with Danny Dimes would be 3-0. San Francisco, when Brock Purdy went down, you didn't think they'd be there in the mix. You got Tampa Bay as a surprise team. So, out of the teams that are undefeated, which ones are you taking and which ones are you leaving? Which ones you think are going to be legit this year, or is it too early to tell on some of those folks? So, who you taking and who you leaving as a legit 3-0 at this point?
Well, out the highlighted teams, I got Bills and the Eagles. They almost a lock, and the Chargers. They looking real good. Um, them three, I believe they're a lock as a take. Now, I'm gonna say the Colts. I'm gonna take simply mainly due to them and the Buccaneers, mainly due to their divisions. The Colts, they in a bad division, and all other three teams are bad, including my Texans. I don't know what that offense is. Terrible. I don't know. They fired their last offensive coordinator, and then this rookie offensive coordinator came, and he looked worse than the one they fired. So, meanwhile, the Colts, Danny Downs right now and it's only 3 games of a 17-game season, but he is looking like if you're going to do an MVP candidate this damn early in the season, he's looking like that team has only punted one time this year so far. One punt. Everything else has been scoring. I'm like, okay, so that's a bad look on the Giants. But the Buccaneers, I mentioned they a team to keep your eyeballs out. Matter of fact, they're going to be playing the Eagles this coming week. That's going to be a good barometer test for them. But yeah, definitely the Colts and the Bucks, just mainly because of the division. AFC South, NFC South, they by far the best team in those two respective conferences. I mean divisions. So
Gotcha. Coach, who you taking? Who you leaving? Who's legit 3-0, and who are the ones who just pretend to be 3-0 at this point, in your view?
Uh, I agree with Shawnee as far as the three teams, that are legit. They showing strong. Surprise team is the Colts, but they also have Jonathan Taylor back at full strength.
yes, yes.
The team that I would take out right now is San Francisco because their core is unsure right now. I think Kittle's been hurt. McCaffrey, he's a candy cane, but they baby him when he get hurt. Oh, you know what I'm saying? But Tampa Bay, they playing good ball. They playing good team ball. I think Baker Mayfield stepped up a little bit, but yeah, I would just take out San Francisco out of that group that's faking right now. And they lost
Gotcha.
Bosa. Yep, like Scam said, they lost
Gotcha.
Bosa for the year.
Yeah, I would certainly agree. I don't think San Francisco is really going to go much further. And really, quite frankly, I don't have that much faith in the Colts either. I just, I think they've had some favorable outcomes, certainly in special teams and whatnot. And I just can't see these guys at the end. I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to survive 17 games this year. So I'll definitely take those two teams out. But I'd say the scariest team out of the bunch is probably San Francisco. I mean, I'm going to give an edge to the Eagles. They're the defending Super Bowl champs. But San Diego, if Harbaugh gets this team, really kind of clicking on all cylinders, he's got the quarterback. So those guys can be very dangerous, certainly in the AFC to anyone. So definitely, I'm going to be looking forward to their games. Certainly against, I think Kansas City, even though they beat the Giants, I don't think they're the same as they used to be. And we got to see, and with Baltimore, which is going to be part of the next segment or the last segment I'll cover tonight. I don't think they're going to be there necessarily in the end either. So it's either them or Buffalo. I think that's going to contend for the East. And so yeah, so those are the ones that are legit. But I think out of all of them, I think San Diego's the scariest. Well, I keep saying San Diego. If LA Harbaugh's got those guys going, then watch out. Those guys could be very dangerous, certainly going forward.
Hey,
But the
real
last,
quick,
yeah,
y'all reminded me about key players missing. I forgot because I was high on the Buccaneers, but hell, they just I don't know how long he's gonna be out. But Mike Evans is out for a little bit, and that's
Mm-hmm.
huge.
mm,
He was the main reason why Baker Mayfield led the NFL in TD passes last season. So everybody keep losing their main weapon. So that's a huge blow to them. Evoka
yes,
looking
and
good
thank you,
though.
and yes. And thank you, Anton. Yes, remind me. I'm showing my age here. Okay, so again, you can take them out. It's like I'm sure a lot of folks were still calling when Los Angeles Raiders moved to the Oakland Raiders moved to Los Angeles. They were still known to as the Oakland Raiders, just playing in LA. So again, you have to give me some grace there. And also shout out to Anton as well. So again, I don't know if you guys want Anton to be part of the show later. Yes, it is the start. We said we give you some love. So it is the start of the NHL season. I think we're 2 or 3 games in, and you said you wanted some acknowledgments to talk about it. So yes, the NHL season is here. So just out of respect for you, sir, do that. Let us know if you want to come up and kind of give I don't know, maybe an NHL preview as to what's coming up this season and what you're excited about for the upcoming season. Maybe we can make that happen. If not in this show, then in another show. But the last thing I want to cover tonight, gentlemen, before again, because I don't know how long this stream is going to be there. I seem like I'm sounding okay now, but you never can trust
Hmm.
these things.
You are.
Um, the last thing that I want to cover tonight was, and again, this is for you and Shawnee in particular, but for you and to Dante, as I promised, that I'm going to give you guys the floor to talk about your favorite guy. All right, this 2-time MVP type player. So I want you guys to certainly have the opportunity to wax poetic and praise, heave your praises on Lamar Jackson. Just look at those amazing statistics: 21 and 27, 288, 3 tubs, 148.1 passer rating. The guy is phenomenal. And so I want to give you guys the opportunity to just again, just sing his praises like you usually do. The floor is yours to talk about that, and then maybe after that, maybe we can get into the Detroit game, which the Ravens lost again in a big spot. But here's your opportunity. You can talk about how great Lamar Jackson is, Shawnee. The floor is yours, sir.
I only have one question for you, Mr. Bennett. I know. Are you trying to put this loss on Lamar? Or are you are you trying to fix
What I'm
your
s-
point?
so what I'm saying is the level and the standard that you and Dante have been leveling putting on Lamar. He is this great player. He's one of the top 2 or 3 players in the NFL. He's a 2-time MVP. At some point in time, the great ones outplay their team. Yes, the fumbling is an issue. Certainly with their running back, the defense. This is not the Ravens defense that we all grew up on. So it is far removed from Terrell Suggs and those guys. Yeah, they got a lot of issues. Even their kicking game, obviously with their kicker getting into trouble, so even that's gone. So again, Lamar has a lot to overcome. But what I'm saying is that if you're going to heave that kind of praise on the guy, then when the moment comes, he gets the ball back with 6 minutes left, down the touchdown, and goes 3 and out. It doesn't excuse the fumbles. It doesn't excuse the Swiss cheese defense. It doesn't exclude any of that. But I'm saying Lamar, there's some games where you're just going to have to say, "I'm gonna win this." He's tentative in the pocket. He's in the pocket when he should be running, and he's just not the dude Just like when a couple of weeks ago when Buffalo, when Allen was down, he went up and led his team back to win. So all I'm saying is, and saying time again. So again, this is preseason, so the official season starts October 7th. So maybe again we can get you on the show if you want to do a preview. And I also want to give shout out to him. Thank you for the $5 uh, super chat. Yes, I'm the same way. The Los Angeles Chargers, just like the Los Angeles Raiders, never sounded right, especially for those from Oakland. So I don't know if I can ever adopt this moniker, or the St. Louis Rams for that matter. I mean, there's just certain names that just don't stick, and it seems like these guys are certainly need to be back in their places. But again, I'm saying Lamar, it's going to be like this all year, and you guys were preseason favorites to certainly be in the mix, contending again for the AFC Championship. And if this is going to be how it's going to be, then you're going to have to will some of these guys out of it. So I'm not saying, of course, it's not all Lamar Jackson, but certainly when he has the opportunity to produce in a critical, crucial moment, I haven't seen that out of Lamar Jackson. Where the great ones, the guys who lead fourth quarter comebacks, those type of guys, they're the ones that get it done. And I haven't seen Lamar get it done. So yes, I'm going to troll Lamar Jackson all year in part because you know I'm a Steelers fan. So again, so he's never going to get any love from me. But that being said, there was an opportunity for him, and even though his stat sheet looks good, these are all MVP type numbers. At the end of the day, wins and losses matter in important moments manner. And I'm saying that I'm not gonna um you know I'm doing that. And again, and Scam even makes a good point. Out of the top QBs out there now, it says game on the line. Who you picking? And I don't hear Lamar Jackson's name mentioned as a guy that you're going to pick within a 2 minute drill to win the game for you. Is he going to be the guy to get it done? Because up to this point, I don't think he's shown that he can get it done. He'll put up great stats all game, but where's it when it counts? So that's my three and out. I'll stand back, and you can certainly again defend Lamar or talk about what's going on with the Ravens and all that. The floor is yours. I just wanted to raise those 3 points. And again, I may bow out early, gentlemen, but I'll stick in here as long as I can. But I won't say too much after this. But the floor is yours, sir, to defend or come up with whatever suits you want for Lamar Jackson once again. So, floor is yours, sir.
Well, generally, this with Lamar, he has come through during the regular season, but of course, his whole thing is postseason. So I understand, but pretty much with Lamar, he's almost like the
I
LeBron
say I
effect.
wouldn't say that you sit now hey, before you go and you say regular season. I'm asking you the question. Fourth quarter, down a touchdown or down five. You talk about to win the game. Lamar hasn't done that. His teams have been at times dominant. They get up early and they stay on you and then they blow you out. When has Lamar led a fourth quarter comeback to win a game? Because that's really, to me, that's the only class he should be measured at. You talk about Montana, you're talking about Breeze, you're talking about, again, those type of guys. He should be in that category, but I haven't heard it yet, so I'm not worried this anymore about regular season. They'll be 11-5, 12-4, or 12-5, or whatever it is at the end. I still think they'll definitely be in the mix, but we're talking about a different criteria now. So I'm not going to count if he's blowing you out against inferior teams. Then that doesn't count. I'm talking about when it matters. All right, so I just want to level set that before you go.
Well, I just looked it up. He has in his career, he does have 12 game winning drives. Well, I think 10, 4, well, 12. They say 12 game winning drives. Like I say, yeah, his team is basically like a front runner. They usually do a good job of getting up on you, and many times during the regular season, they will uh, keep that lead. It's really once his defense started regressing where they be giving up leads. But he does have 12 on him, 12 fourth quarter comebacks in his career. And To answer scam, I mean, yes, Matt Stafford, I would choose in the fourth quarter, but lately I also choose Allen. Josh Allen will come back on you too. There's a lot of times his defense will give up a lead like within seconds of him just coming back, but he would definitely put a score up there late in the game as well. So I understand what you're saying, Mr. Bennett. Like he does have some fourth quarter, but the Ravens as a whole, they do tend to be front runners, especially when they continue to be leading the NFL in rushing. Because generally once they get the lead, they will just run the ball. They will just sit on that ball, and it's hard to stop them, especially since they added Derrick Henry. Now they try to do that again because it happened versus the Bills in Game One, and then this game when it was like a crucial game, they was in it, like it was either tied or whatnot. They'll give the ball to Henry, and unfortunately he had a fumble in three straight games. But in particular versus the Bills and the Lions, he had two crucial fumbles, and that put him, killed whatever chance it gave. It gave the opposing team, the ball, and then because their defense has been so poor, they went on to score and literally put the game out of reach for them to come back. But yeah, I see what you're saying because I look at it in the postseason. I look at Lamar Jackson like LeBron. I only regular season. It's about what you do in the postseason now. And I think the Ravens, as far as regular season, they generally going to get back on track. I'm not really worried about that because many people still have them as a potential Super Bowl team as far as getting there representing the AFC. Now, to me, well, I mentioned if they don't do it this year, I don't know when because they are stacked. Um, they obviously have more talent than the Bills, but it's literally Lamar versus Allen at that point. And right now, Allen has the upper hand. So, what's your thoughts on it, Coach?
Well, the one thing that I see that everyone else has that he doesn't really have autonomy to change plays. He runs the plays that's called. And, I think, again, even with I don't know, man. I think sometimes they get out of focus as a team because the defense is sloppy. The defense is real sloppy. And they put pressure on the offense to have to put up points. They're going to have to score 40 points a game to be able to win these games, seem like. They've scored over 100 something points already in 3 games. So, again, I think if he's allowed to, I don't think they've given him the full reins to sort of call audibles and change the plays at the line because he's just running the plays and you see how it's falling apart. But the defense is also sloppy. And I agree, if he would improvise more, then there could be an issue with the coaches. So, we'll see, man. He's
Look like Coach in the freezer on us now.
gonna have to he's
Yeah,
gonna have to
yeah.
win.
Oh, there you go. Oh, Coach, look like you going in and out yourself now. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I believe Lamar Jackson has like full autonomy at the line. I think his escapability is just so high. I mean, I don't really think he would change the plays, but I just think once a play breaks down, he literally just puts fear in the defense because this dude can get out of a situation, and what you don't want him to do is start running, and then he'll just destroy a team once that. So whether he changed the play at the line or keep what's called originally called, eventually if it breaks down, that's when he's most dangerous. So yeah, I think he's what's up, Tommy? I think I want to believe he has because he's been in the league for what over 7 seasons, 6, 7 seasons now. So if he don't have full autonomy at the line by now, I don't, especially as a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Anton. Anton again with another $5 super chat. Both the Jets and Dodgers are one loss away from being the dumpster fire into story. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I think the Jets have been in every game. this year. It's just that they just had some misfortune. The quarterback is out and whatnot. So Tyrod Taylor, he's always one of those guys who will always come in and he'll give you solid quarterback play, but he can never deliver. I mean, he's like the most frustrating, backup kind of one pseudo starter guy. You think, okay, this guy maybe he can't be a starter for somebody or whatever, but he can never quite get it done. Certainly in the big moment. But I'm just glad to see, like Coach is always talking about, guys who just be able to have long careers in the league. He's got millions. He's still making millions of dollars, and he's still, finding a way to stay relevant in the NFL. But he's always landing somewhere, and at any given moment he can start the game. So, shout out to him for staying with it all that time. But the Giants, in fact, they're moving on. I think the Russ experiment's over. I think they will be starting, Jackson Dart in Game 4, and I think
Yep.
it's time to see what the guy can do. This is unfortunate. I mean, Russ he threw for almost 500 yards last game, the game before this, and but clearly ineffective against the Chiefs. And now they're definitely they were looking for the opportunity. So now we're going to see Jackson Dart, who a lot of people also passed up on initially as far as a quarterback prospect. And we'll see if he was worth it because a lot of guys were talking about he was a first round talent. But we'll see what he can do and pan out there. But listen, guys, I'm going to jump off. Because again, even now I'm just looking at my CPU is on fire right now. So let me jump off the stage. You guys carry on and continue to conduct the show. I'll try to follow in the chat or what have you. But yeah, I should be back next week. I'm in Grenada. It's 90 degrees even now. So it's like, so my wife and I, we didn't feel like really doing. We went to dinner, we came back, we didn't feel like doing nothing else tonight because it is this heat is oppressive at night. You don't want to go on the island breeze is coming through, but it's like hot. So we just had a long day. We're gonna wind it down, but I just want to kind of show up and represent a little bit. So keep doing your things with the show. I'll with you guys next week, and just carry on, gentlemen.
Salute, man. Be
Appreciate
safe,
it, Mr.
man.
Bennett. Be safe out there.
I'm back safe. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep.
So, uh, so we were just talking about the Ravens. I wanted to talk about the team on the other side of the ball because I remember week one they was catching, and which like I said, that's the week one. The Monday after week one is the biggest overreaction Monday of the season, and it was no different for this next team. That was the Detroit Lions. How because they had that bad loss versus the Packers, was division game, but that's the first game of the season. Many people was I know before the season I wanted to see how they was going to look like because they had two new coordinators, so I didn't know how they was going to look like. And then when how they looked like game one, literally none of their star players showed up. Gibbs, Amon Ra, um, Golf, none of them just showed up. They just got destroyed in game one. So you heard a lot of the overreaction Monday. Everybody was like pretty much basically getting ready to put them towards, lower their standards in the NFC. And then the next 2 weeks, you see them pretty much finding their groove back, and now they literally looking like the Detroit from last year, even with Ben Johnson's play calling. There was a particular play when they scored against the Ravens where it was a handoff to Amon Ra, and he did a pitch to Gibbs to take it to the end zone. And that looked like a play straight from a Ben Johnson play, but just the creativity. And my whole thing is, it appears that the Lions have so far looked like they're starting to catch their groove back from what we've seen in the past, especially during the Dave Campbell era. That they are a physical team because they was running the ball all over Baltimore. And I know we're just talking about how bad their defense has been this season, but still, when you just think of Baltimore, they're supposed to be a physical team. Now, Detroit just pretty much out physical them, and then you saw the creativity in that play calling. So I was like, okay, they starting to get their groove back. So I know at one time we were looking at the Eagles and like who's going to challenge them in the NFC. I was still gonna have. I still think Buccaneers can be up there, but with the loss of Evans, I have to see how they're gonna go through these next couple of weeks without him. But obviously, and I still believe the Rams. You know, it took a blocked field goal for the Eagles to beat the Rams. So I still think the Rams are going to be up there. Um, but between the Rams, as you can see, the Lions and the Buccaneers, I would say the Packers. But the only thing I want to have about the Packers is Jordan Love. Jordan Love can be kind of sporadic, just because you don't know if they are good, they're good. But then he'll make decisions with the football. You're like, why? I believe in the last game he threw a ball trying to get to a receiver under three defenders. So I don't understand his decision making at times. But at least two teams, I'm definitely putting up there who could challenge the Eagles for their spot is the Lions and the Rams. And you saw how the Rams looked like. They looked like they was going on for a nice win versus the Eagles, and then they kind of collapsed. And it kind of go back to the conversation I believe we was having last week about Jalen Hurts and how many may feel if he's underrated. You know, he shows his worth, especially the second half of that game versus the Rams. So, Coach, two questions. So, do you believe the Lions have turned the corner for this season? And then also have your opinions have changed on what NFC teams will be able to challenge, potentially challenge the Eagles for that top spot in the NFC?
I can't really say right now whether or not they turned the table as far as, going on a little winning streak. I think they found a good formula. If they stick to it, I think they'll be okay with running the ball with Montgomery. He's more of a between the tackles. Gibbs, he's more of a edge runner. So continue with running the ball, mixing it up. I think they'll be okay. They'll find that groove, Then it just come down to play calling, but they have the players to get the job done. Um, I don't see anything changing as of now. I think even with Philadelphia, if they sort of stick with the game plan they had, I think they'll become one of the best teams, and it'll show throughout the season. I'm definitely surprised with Kansas City, the way they sort of are, discombobulated. I think somebody mentioned it before. They've been too much. What's her name? Travis Kelsey, and
Oh,
they've been having too much of that party going on. And I think the Super Bowl loss really sort of got to them mentally because they went most of the season, undefeated, and then you lose Super Bowl. That sort of broke their spirit. To me, they just look right now because even with Kelsey and Reed getting into it on the sideline, I was surprised to see that, and it was still early in the game. So
hmm
right now, we'll be able to tell. I'll give it another 3 weeks. 3 weeks from now, you're going to see the team start to separate. But the team, and I'll say about this, I'm anticipating what's going to happen in Cleveland. 2 more losses, I think Joe Flacco won't be the starter. And it's going to be interesting to see who gets that starting job at that point, because there would be no need to keep 3 quarterbacks. So it'll be interesting to see. I think if they're going to trade, I think they're going to trade Gabriel to a team that needs a quarterback. That's just my opinion, but could be
Well,
Shador.
well, about that one because I agree with you. I don't think Flacco is going to finish the season with the Browns. I think we may, if the offense continues to look the way it looks, I think we may see a change. We'll be going to week 4. I say at least by week 8, and that's halfway during the season. But I don't think it's going to be Sanders. I think it's going to be Dylan Gabriel who's going to get the shot. Because the thing about it, it reminded me of when they were the Redskins at the time, when they drafted both RG3 and Kirk Cousins. And you heard a lot. When you going to start? Why you going to draft two rookie quarterbacks? Who you going to get to start? RG3 was shining that first season, and then he hurt his knee. And then they got Kirk, and he actually started progressing, which is why he kept getting those franchise tag contracts that he just wasn't shying away from before he ultimately got his big contract when he with them. I think with them or when he went to the Vikings. But anyway, it's going to be Gabriel because I believe the Browns view Gabriel higher than Sanders. I think the general public, of course, is pushing for Sanders. But I don't know how much first team reps Sanders is getting. One, you can clearly see within the depth chart, let alone when they drafted. When they drafted Gabriel, what, third round?
Yeah, like
Then,
third round, I believe.
then 2 rounds later, they finally settled for Sanders. So Gabriel is going to be the quarterback, I believe, who's going to get the chance. And then they're going to give him a legit chance to it should be no different than how it is in New York right now. You put in your rookie quarterback once you make that move, you can't just go back. Like Jackson Dart, he's the starter, and he's going to be the starter for the remainder of the season. Well, I believe it's going to be the same thing for the Browns if they decide to make that move. If you name Gabriel your starter, let Gabriel be the starter. Because just like how everybody's saying about they need to see what they have in Sanders, they need to do the same exact thing with Gabriel. And since Gabriel is currently ahead of the depth chart above Sanders, Gabriel is going to he should get the full benefit of, okay, let me see, what you have. And that means once you decide to give him starter, let him play for the rest of the season. So the Browns put themselves in this situation. I don't know why you want to draft two rookie, especially one like Sanders, knowing the attention that he will bring and the fan that's constantly going to be pushing him to play. According to the Browns, they showed you basically what they think about Sanders until this point. Sanders don't get that much first team reps, and they have Gabriel listed higher in the depth chart than Sanders. So they're gonna give Gabriel all the opportunities to prove to them that he can be their franchise quarterback. And if he just completely bombs, then Sanders. So yeah, I don't really know when Sanders. I mean, you heard the reports that Sanders actually kind of, shunned the idea of the Ravens drafting him because he didn't want to sit behind Jackson, which I understand because he wants to play, and Jackson is a young quarterback, so you're gonna be sitting behind Jackson for a very long time. He's not going anywhere. But even as when it comes to the Browns, that second string quarterback is literally just one hit away from being a starter. And if the person above you is like 41, 42 years old, that we talking about, okay, if the coaches make the decision to change quarterbacks because of who the starting quarterback is, football may determine, okay, Gabriel, you about to be the starting quarterback, and that's basically if Flacco gets injured, especially being the age that he is. So yeah, I think Sanders. What's up, Dante? You finally able to get in? I think Sanders. He's the talk of the town. Of course, he always has been since he was drafted for them. But Dylan Gabriel is the second string quarterback. If he becomes starter, they gonna give him. They should exhaust the reps and opportunities for Dylan Gabriel before they even think about putting Sanders in over Gabriel. Because that's, you name it, they both rookies, so they both projects. You don't know what they're gonna get.
You give them
So
5 games apiece, brother. 5 games apiece to prove that they can play. 5 games apiece.
man, then that's to me that's a bad move by Cleveland. I mean, why did you
Pittsburgh did
draft?
it. Pittsburgh did it last year. They gave him 6 games and then they
That
moved
wasn't
them.
two. That wasn't two rookies though. I mean, why
But
did you
still,
waste your
you're gonna
time
get the same
drafting two
result.
rookies?
They're gonna get the
So
same results. Cleveland, if Flacco don't get it together, they could be in for a 1-2 win season with either quarterback. So
what you got, Dante?
you
Oh, you.
muted, brother.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All
Like
right,
I said,
what's
that
going
new
on,
microphone
man?
you got.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, but I want to mention the fact about Shador, and like I will say this: Coach Prime is doing him no favors because what he explained, like I understand what people were saying. Like I heard Bomani Jones explain, that's a bad. He's giving him bad advice. Why wouldn't you want to go to a stable organization like Baltimore? But keep in mind, Baltimore signed his quarterback, and then they signed Cooper Rush as the backup. Whenever you give a guy money, that's the guy that got priority. So your chances of making a team were kind of low over there in Baltimore. And then maybe you'll be up as the emergency quarterback as the third guy, but likely you're gonna be on the practice squad. Maybe they'll stash you there. Going to a place like Cleveland where you have an opportunity, even if Gabriel is a third round pick in front of you, you say, okay, the old guy's really ready to go out. I signed a contract. I got a 4-year deal. But at best next year, hey, if I don't get to play at all this year, I can come in and I can compete for the job the next year or be the backup. And like you say, the backup you one hit away. Dylan Gabriel did have an injury history in college. And so I feel like you can't be mad at a guy for wanting to go to an opportunity with a chance to play because there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to just sit stashed as the backup, as a third string guy, But I think Coach Prime had a horrible example of saying, how you going to learn from sitting on the bench? Patrick Mahomes learned from sitting on the bench. Like I would have said they gave a great example on his show, like about quarterbacks that have sit. As a quarterback, it does help you sit. And so I will say Shador is definitely soaking up the playbook right now, I hope. But I mean, for everybody that's a fan of Shador, I like Shador, but I do know, I fully acknowledge Gabriel is the guy that's going to get the first reps with the second team. But all he can do is, stay ready, be in the playbook, and get a chance. But I just don't think he's going to get a chance anytime soon, barring injury. So it's just like, I don't put too much energy into it, other than the fact of like, hey, let's give Gabriel a shot. What he got? They got a surprising win last week, so that buys Flacco some more time. Now I know they play the Lions this week, and I saw I saw you in the chat. Like, yeah, I think y'all are gonna, handle up nicely on the Browns. But so that's why I think after this point, it's going to get closer to be like, hey, let's see what the kids got. After the first quarter, you're 1-3. Flacco, there's no future there. So it is time to start looking into that as you get to the second quarter of the season.
So I want to ask y'all this question: how does Shador, and this is redundant, he goes from one of the top quarterbacks until he has an interview, then all of a sudden he's not even good enough. When we clearly see teams could have drafted him, right? Like the New Orleans Saints. If I give the New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh, you get Rodgers, yeah, you get a Hall of Famer. But there's clearly teams that could use quarterback, and the quarterbacks that they have, they know better than Shador, first and second year, and it's showing on the team. So, again, I don't know. Maybe there's some more to it. I don't think he'll ever say anything until he start doing this podcast in about 10 years or so. But, it's just the way it all played out. You go from one of the maybe going first, before one interview with a reporter, then all of a sudden he drops down. It just was odd to me. Then he's getting taken by a team that has 5 quarterbacks. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I think that question is more. It's just a question for the NFL front offices, really. I mean, the fan bases look at him, will look at Sanders, and many were like, he has legit talent. Now, will it transfer to the NFL? We don't know, and we don't know when we'll be able to see that. But right now, I can't. That's a question for the NFL. Why did they let him drop the way they did? Do they actually see him have an actual? To me, Sanders is no different than any other QB project that we've seen. Hell, Dak Prescott. Prescott wasn't viewed highly coming out of college. I mean, he had a good season with Mississippi State. He was the main reason why Mississippi State was doing well. I think he led them to a number 1 ranking at one time.
Yeah, I think it was number 2. I think they get close to number
top
2.
3. And so, but that was it. But coming in, he was still a 4th round pick. And even when he came to the Cowboys, he was 3rd string. It's just injuries pushed him up. So, so to meet Sanders, he's just another project quarterback. That teams can, if they had genuine interest in him, will let him work in the background and give him reps when they can. It's just this particular team, the Browns, which won. I mean, it's not really. I mean, obviously, it's no secret they have a hard time developing quarterbacks. So unfortunately for Sanders, I don't know when he's gonna. His best option is just literally maybe just to leave them. Ask for a trade because they don't have a good track record themselves of developing quarterbacks. So, but he just happened to be drafted by a team that just 2 rounds earlier drafted another quarterback who they're going to give him the opportunities. So you just don't know when his opportunity is going to come on that particular squad. But yeah, I don't know how he will fare in the NFL. You haven't really seen too much of him. I mean, you saw a couple of preseason. He had that decent preseason showing, and then he got injured, and he couldn't play really that much. And then the next preseason showing that you saw, it wasn't so well. So you have one decent performance and then one underwhelming performance, and then that's all we got. Other than that, we don't really know what the kid can do in the NFL. And so I don't know. I just know he'll get on the field whenever he get on the field, but he's not going to get on the field anytime soon. So a lot of people who talking about Sanders, pitchforking for Sanders, it's not going to happen this year, and it may not happen next year if he stays on the Browns, because that spot belongs to Gabriel. So they're going to have to live and accept that and let it go. But appreciate you, Antoine, for another super chat. He said Eric Dixon said it best. Shedeur Sanders was drafted late because you have some front office guys, former players, that still have a grudge against his father. And that could be. Because right now, that's just the biggest enigma from the draft. So will it be actually, will we know the reason? No, it's almost no different than Kaepernick. They don't really say the exact reason why they don't want to sign him anymore. But, yeah, it's an enigma right now.
Yeah, I would say that basically he did do a bad job from the information I heard from poor, not just one, but poor interviews and rubbing people the wrong way. And then once you get out of that first round and he kept dropping, then that stuff kind of matters a bit more. But when it comes to talent, we're going to see, because this was considered a weak quarterback draft class. And to me, honestly, I felt him and Cam Ward were on the same level. I didn't feel like either of them were like just super strong first overall picks, but I felt like, hey, Cam Ward did show some things. He's more physically gifted than Shedeur, but I'd say that Shedeur, accurate passer. The main knock on him I have is holding on to the ball too long, and that's something that he still has him a little bit. But even with not the best guys, he looked pretty decent the first preseason game that he was able to play in. Not so much in the last one that he played in. But it's something that, since he has a big following and a big name, it's going to be a story to track and follow. But like you said, it's Cleveland. Eventually, he'll get a chance. I just think if you're a fan of Shedeur Sanders, just be patient. Like, I literally was Jersey Day at work, and so I definitely saw a woman when I was just like, "Is that a Shedeur Sanders jersey?" She was like, "Yes," and I was just like, "Hey, respect. Didn't expect her to have that one on," but I was like, "Hey, clearly a fan," and that's the one thing that's going to keep his name around. And it's just like Cleveland. I wonder if they get to the point where it's so loud, especially if they have a lousy season. Do they give them a shot? Because I'm not gonna lie, everyone, hey, go to the draft. You can draft you have to draft every position, obviously, but drafting a quarterback, it really all depends on who's eligible. And so far, the guys that are coming up in this next class, they haven't started the best.
Right. So this again, only reason they ranking this class high because Arch Manning and he's a scrub.
No. Arch Manning is not going to be in this class. He's
Yeah, he
absolutely
been nice.
the guys that are going to be in this class. The quarterback from LSU, Nussmeier. Matter of fact, his father is a coach for the Saints. I think he's a
I
coach for
don't
the
make
Saints. So Nussmeier, Kay Klubnik was supposed to be in this class, but he started
that
the year
kid.
off look terrible.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
well,
They
well,
just
that.
Terrible. The kid from South Carolina, Lenore Sellers,
Mhm.
he's been, I don't know. I know he had a concussion injury or he had an injury. I can't remember what it was. He got knocked out of a game. I think it was a concussion. So his status is up and down. The South Carolina's disappointing. So
Well, this is a perfect segue because that's probably the most attention I can remember sports world giving it to a third string
right.
quarterback. So we moving on to the college football is and we were just talking about like some of the QB prospects and real quick before we go there because I want to just do I'll just give you the first 10 teams in the rankings so far and see what y'all think of it. And then we can get back to this QB class, potentially, I guess, the 2026 QB class. So you got number one is Ohio State, two Miami, three Penn State, four LSU, five Georgia, six Oregon, seven Oklahoma, eight Florida State, nine Texas A&M, and number 10 is UT. So right now, like we just entering week 5 of the season, and I believe right now with the new college football, they just doing the top 12 teams ranked, right? So you can potentially have like 5 SEC teams in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I think they're still doing the format where I think last year they got tricky with it, but I do think they're doing with the conference winners from the 4 major programs, and then after that they're going at large. So I would say, to be honest, if Notre Dame is good, which they had 2 losses, basically you can give them a spot. You can assure, especially being they just played in a national title, so that's one you can put in there. But I do say it could be a number of, honestly, SEC is a bit down if we're gonna be honest about it. But the Big Ten looks strong, so I think like the Penn States of the world, basically outside of the winner of the Big Ten, I say a Penn State or Ohio State, even in Indiana, they look, they showing they wasn't a 1-year wonder. They came out and smoked Illinois, who was a top 10 ranked at the time. So I don't know, it's kind of, and then I will say another development, Oklahoma, who started off really good
Yeah,
with big wins against Michigan and
McKinney.
Auburn. Their starting quarterback has a broken throwing hand. So now so obviously they're going to win against Kent State. It'd be a massive upset if they beat Texas. So they're looking like, and they're getting ready to face the toughest part of their schedule. So as we head into October, it's going, next week you start in October. It's going to be a real interesting race to see how things shape up. And I think in October, starting early November or late October, that's when they start having the first playoff rankings, the official rankings. So everything is in play. And there's, like I saw someone mention, there's no quote unquote definitively great team. Georgia showed its flaws where it was a shootout. You don't see Georgia in shootouts with that type of defensive
Tennessee should
pedigree.
have won that game.
Tennessee definitely should have won that game, and that's one that I know that they're going to be kicking themselves. Just like I'm pretty sure, off topic, I'm pretty sure that quarterback Nico, I'm pretty sure he's kicking himself, and he's off in UCLA and is miserable. Coach is fired. The guys lost to New Mexico, so it's college football. I will say it's going to be a wild, crazy ride because basically the ACC. I mean, I don't, as a fan, I root for Texas. I don't want to hear I'm back talk. I'm number one proponent of that. I don't want to hear that Miami is back, the U is back. I just need them to handle business and at least make the playoff. Because last year they blew their opportunity to make the playoff by losing it to Syracuse. And so I just want to see teams that are competitive, that are trying to break through. Hopefully they can. Like, SMU they got 2 losses already, and so they look like some of that shine is off of their playoff appearance. But it's gonna be real fun and real competitive. I'm hoping we don't see a 3-loss team in the playoff, but the way things are looking right now, you very well could.
Yeah, I think we probably will. And that's the thing with this new playoff format. Which I don't mind because now we're seeing some great matchups during the regular season. Like we will never see UT and Ohio State game 1, and then there was another like top 10 game that they played. I forgot the teams were, but they have the flexibility to do that now because they know, okay, we don't, so much pressure is not on to be on an undefeated season. We can have 2, potentially 3 losses, especially like if you're in a Big Ten and SEC, because just looking at some schedule, I forgot, was it UT? And just to add, I saw Scam ask a question. He was asking us, are we sold on Indiana? Because Indiana had a huge win recently, this past week versus Illinois. I believe Indiana came in ranked number 16, and Indiana and Illinois is 9, and just blew the brakes off of Illinois. So let me see, because Indiana, I believe, before. Okay, so Scam, we will know whether we sold on Indiana 2 weeks from now, because that's when they got to play Oregon. And Oregon. One thing I like about Oregon always seems like, especially with who's it, Dan Lanning.
Yeah, Dan Lanning. Mm-hmm.
They always seem to play with a chip on their shoulder. He will use anything to motivate that squad, and then you see him just like, you'll see it like transpire on the field. I still remember how they did Colorado. They just like utterly destroyed them. But we will see. That will get your question answered, how serious Indiana is when they play Oregon.
I forgot to mention, speaking of willing to see and test, Alabama has to go. They got to go to Athens. They got to go play Georgia, and so that one loss that they have on their record, that bad loss to Florida State, that's gonna be a tough game for them. But I did mention the ACC. We do have Florida State, and Miami could be hitting for a collision there. So
when did they? Let me look at the schedule. I want to see when they play each other.
Let me take a peek because I got the schedules up right now.
Because I was about to say ACC was coming back up, but then SMU, the new kid on the block, they had a bad loss first versus Baylor, and then turned around and had a loss against TCU.
We get the Miami Florida State game. We get that next weekend.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, we get that next. We get.
Well, I hope they don't do, because this year, man, I don't know. So this weekend, and I hope they don't do the same thing when you have that game. But this weekend,
SEC staggered their games, so you'll get a game in every window for the SEC. I will say this, they do a good job with the scheduling and how they set things up, and I like how they set the 4-year schedule up, so you see which team plays who. But I say this week it looks like the slate's not bad, especially when you, at night you get Georgia, which
that's the thing. We get number 6 Oregon at Penn State at the same exact time as what we get Alabama Georgia. They play at the same exact time, 3:30 Central Time. No, 6:30 Central Time.
Yeah, you said Alabama was more entitled than Shador. Well, the thing is about the entitlement, the fans in Alabama are certainly entitled, and they want to get rid of that coach. They're so entitled. I heard the woman that won the lottery, the one that the Mega Millions, was like, hey, she wanted to pay off Kalen DeBoer, and then she wanted to pay the AD and get him out of town too. They are sick of that man. But I've heard this theory my whole life, and I believe it. You never want to be the man. You never want to be the guy that follows up the man. You want to be the guy after that, because your expectations will be a little bit lower. They'll look at you like, hey, he's gonna help us, and the expectation, just expectations of what Saban brought you. And then in the NIL era, which I've heard that, hey, Bama doesn't. It's not like they don't have big donors, but they don't have some of the donors that like a Texas has, or like Oregon. They have Oregon, like they have Phil Knight, like pumping money into them, and other programs have their pocket of donors. And Alabama, while it is in the South, it's not a football-rich state, so they got to run to Georgia, they got to go to Florida, they get down and dip into Louisiana, and they get their talent. But under Saban, they was able to recruit nationally. They was able to recruit nationally, and of course, dominate the SEC region. But now you got Kirby Smart, who's taking some of that real estate away. And then now you got, as far as when it comes to NIL, when Texas came in, and I was just like, okay, some of the guys I see Texas recruiting, this is like, okay, that's a true talent that they could have got regardless. And then sometimes, hey, the kids from South Carolina, the kids from Florida, straight SEC country, they money with them. That's cool. It's like, hey, they just, and so that now they have to deal with that. Saban, I will say this. He was scared. He was a bit of a coward a little bit and just said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to leave. He couldn't have things the way he wanted, and he left. And respecting what he done as a coach, but he even did the same as far as the up-tempo offenses. He wanted to change the rules so it would dictate to fit his team. And when he couldn't do it, then he did one of the worst things college football ever seen. He got an up-tempo offense and got quarterbacks, and then he won off some championships. Game changed again.
I think that's when he got Lane Kiffin. Either Lane
Kiffin. When he got that run between getting Lane, Sark, and I want to say
Bill O'Brien.
Got in there. Huh?
Bill O'Brien was his offensive.
Bill O'Brien, yeah, but he got that reign, and he figured out like, oh, I'm gonna get those guys. He had a reign on the system. Then he gave it to somebody else, and it's just like, I would say that in probably 2 years, if the board isn't able to change things to get it like how he wants it, his type of ball, and win, he'll be out, and Alabama might be in a state of flux because when you fire a good coach, because the board is a good coach, had Washington in national title game, then you get to the point where you get to, like, I grew up on Alabama in the 90s where it was just like, whoa, they needed saving. They needed saving. Like in the two early 2000s before Saban got there, they needed saving and bad. I want to say Auburn was regularly whooping them in the Iron Bowl. And I think you can see a place in the not too distant future where that comes, because if they fall, and that's Auburn's thorn in their side. If they fall, you'll see Auburn rise, and you see the other SEC ain't getting no easier. Georgia's still running, But I will say this: it sucks that it's such good games on in a certain window. But I know I'm not gonna be able to watch anything but I'm gonna be at the fair anyway. I'm gonna be at the fair, and it's the Fair Classic this weekend, so I'm gonna be focused on that.
What you got?
Come on, man. You Alabama fans, man. Listen,
I ain't an Alabama, far from an Alabama fan. I'm just saying that's where they could be. I think they should hold on to the coach.
No, but Saban. So first of all, Nick Saban is God in the South. He's the God in the South. Let's be real. And he's gotten the inside scoop, man. That's why he retired, man. He knew NIL was taking over. He ain't gonna always get the top 300s. They get spread out and go for that money. And he understood. That's why he went out like he did. They retired him. They gave him the word that his was going to happen. He got out because you see the parity in college football now. That's why they starting to let these lower teams play these Division I teams, right? Because everybody's getting in the money now. And so, yeah, I mean, it was his time, man. He's been out long enough, So he wasn't no good in the NFL, but they gave him a nice little job at Alabama, and it opened up for him. But, yeah, that's just part of the game, man. I think you're going to see more parity over the next few years, and teams – I think, like, right now it's Ohio State, right? Ohio State, Georgia, right? But still, I think over the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see those teams take a dip in talent, because if I can get paid $300,000 to stay at home with mama now, most of these dudes gonna do it because they gonna get that pressure from their broke ass family members talking about stay close to us, man, so they can come over and mess up your house. But I'll say, if you can get your money in California and you live in Texas, go on out to California, wherever you can go to get your money. Don't get away from the people you grew up with. Get away and don't come back for 2 summers. Just work out and get your mind on the league or something. But yeah. Just part of the game, man. Salute to everybody's kids go to college, man, play sports, soccer, volleyball. Let them get some of that money. Take the pressure off your pockets.
Well, I want to give a shout out again to Antoine for the $5 super chat. He mentioned Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, and UCLA are definitely dumpster fires and now have coaching vacancies.
Hey, I need to put my bid in, man. I should send them my application, man. See if they give me a
Do
call though,
something,
for real.
especially at UCLA, because you remember
I'll
Eric
take it.
Bieniemy.
I'll take it. I can wear jackets and jogging suits all
But
week.
UCLA, they did that to themselves, man, joining the
They
Big
did,
Ten.
didn't
I mean,
Yeah,
did they join the Big Ten or ACC?
Big Ten. No, they're part of the Big Ten.
You should have
because
just
what they
stayed right
did,
there at the Pac-12 with Washington State and Oregon State.
yeah, it was a package deal, and I will say I am missing some of the regionality of it. Now, as far as rooting for Texas, I still get to see. Hey, I get Arkansas back, which ain't the best because they ain't the best team, but I keep Oklahoma and I get A&M back. That's a big one. It's just like, hey, regionally that works. I saw next year Texas is going at LSU, and I feel like that's going to be a great test. I hope it's at night because I know that's such a great atmosphere and tough to win in.
Texas
but so Texas keeps it, but other teams, it's like when I see TCU, they just had their rival, which I know TCU they might not agree with me. They should have brought SMU to the Big 12, even though that's two DFW markets. You should have brought them there. I don't like seeing Arizona State in Arizona in the Big 12. That's weird. And then you got to wear it off with, hey, UCF, Central Florida. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And like, so, I know you're trying to get markets, but what market are you getting in that part of Florida? Like to be honest, like that's significant.
It just got greed. You got Oklahoma State because recently, they just fired Gundy, which I believe it was his time to go. They completely. There was a time that Oklahoma State was competitive, and then recently they just started falling through. They got completely. They was always under Oklahoma shadow. That's University Sooners. They was always under his shadow. But I remember though. But they Bedlam games was truly Bedlam. Nah, that's just a slaughter. I mean, they just don't. But Oklahoma State. It's like no matter what records them two teams, them was some of the craziest games. I mean, just shootouts left and right, and it has not been the same.
And speaking of Bedlam, games like that going away because teams are changing conferences. So I know SMU and TCU, they battle for the Iron Skillet. We just played the last. They're billing it as the last one because they're not on the upcoming schedule the next few years. But the Bedlam game is ended. Like teams that got left in the lesser conference, they're upset and they don't want to schedule the game anymore. And like A&M didn't want to schedule the game with Texas, and then Texas, came to the big SEC. So it was like, hey, it was fine for them to come back and start that rivalry and restart it. But other teams are losing it. Like I would say, I don't know how much longer Oregon is going to play Oregon State because they played them. Oregon State might not want to play them, even though what is it called? The Civil War. But they just, they beat them pretty bad. But that's, those rivalries normally go one-sided sometimes. And we're losing that part of the game. And I want to say in the next few years, our team's going to come back to that because do the fans want it? Or is it all about just the money that the teams want?
But what you got to look at, it's all about the money in college football now. That's what it is all about. So they have to create the matchups to get the money. And this is what the NCAA has done to itself in a sense, right? They've given that power away to those because, and here's the question I want to ask you and Shani. Out of those three openings, right, y'all coaches, which jobs are y'all taking?
Which jobs?
Those three jobs that are now vacant in college football. Which one would you take?
UCLA, Oklahoma State. What's the other one?
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is a hell no.
Okay. UCLA, Oklahoma State.
It's got to be UCLA because of the market that I'm in, and I can at least tell them like, hey, I'm going to be playing these upper echelon teams, and I can go and hit the portal. The only problem is with UCLA is they don't have a full 100-yard indoor practice facility. They have a 50-yard practice facility. Like it, resources wise, it's not what you want. And then I will say it's in California. So if you don't have the backing, the financial backing, because purely the Pac-12, the reason why the Pac-12 is no more, it's not football hungry like the SEC is, like the Big Ten is. So they didn't even have a TV contract. So the
Dante.
hunger for people wanting to win in football is not there. I'm telling
Dante.
you, I've heard this.
Hold on, Dante. Listen, you the coach, man. You get to choose a team. You choosing UCLA.
Yeah, I'm choosing
right?
UCLA with those disadvantages.
Only reason you choosing
Oklahoma State.
UCLA. Only reason you choosing UCLA because it's hot and it's California. That's the only reason you going. You ain't
And that's
going
what
to
I'm telling
Virginia
you.
Tech.
I'm taking the recruits to the beach. I'm like, what other?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's where you're gonna be
I'm
messed
going.
up at.
I'm gonna try to make
on
it.
that beach.
If I get fired in 3 years, I get fired in 3 years. But Virginia Tech, they have been dead. They have
I
been
would take
dormant
Virginia
for
Tech
years.
though. I'll take Virginia Tech.
They've been dormant for years. Beamer ball was a long time ago, and I want to say Oklahoma State. Like I've been to Oklahoma and I've driven, and I've seen like, oh, okay, so I get it. Norman is not too far from Oklahoma City. Okay, Stillwater is way somewhere else, and I'm like, well, what's in the sticks? Like, nah, it's gonna be hard. That's a hard sell. And T. Boone Pickens, their biggest donor, he's no longer with us, and so so you got to find a donor source. And that, now if you could tell me that Virginia Tech has some type of donor, because they do need to raise money. That's why I've heard people say they might need to go after Mike Vick to bring that back.
I would take. Well, first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to the ladies join in the chat. Appreciate you joining.
Yes, peace of mind.
Genesis I am and peace of mind. So appreciate the ladies for joining us. I will, like you mentioned, UCLA. They in LA.
Wait, real quick. Hey, shout out to Big Ruck. I see you. We said super conferences kill rivalries and kill college basketball. It did. If you go back and look at it from where the old Big East, because I used to love the old Big East, and the way they broke that up, it was all over football, man. And the chasing the football money. That's but great.
Yeah, all these moves of football. They killing it. But UCLA, they in football, they a little bit of the USC. And they're in LA, so everybody else doing other things, they ain't got no time to come to a football game. So, man, they're in LA. You mentioned about Oklahoma State. They one day under the umbrella of Oklahoma, and then they just that secondary school. Like here in Texas, of course, University of Texas is the juggernaut of the state.
Yes,
but A&M is A&M. They still have they not as big as
ton of pride.
UT, but they are well respected in the state.
How many miles apart? How many miles apart are they?
They not College Station and
not
Austin,
too far. Not
maybe
too far.
About
College
a 2-hour drive to each other.
Texas,
they're not that far. They're not that far at all from each other. Even as big as the state as Texas is, them two towns they fairly close to each other. That's why the rivalry was so big. They're not like Texas Tech. Texas Tech now they up there by themselves in the Panhandle. But yeah, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma rules Oklahoma, and they just rule it. I mean, all their sports. Maybe Oklahoma State baseball, but hell, Oklahoma got football. They have basketball, definitely girls softball. They just run Oklahoma. Tech, you've seen the atmosphere when they winning. They have a real good college football. Everybody know Tech from their entrance. They got one of the most hype entrants. Their team coming through the tunnels, and I keep forgetting what song that they do to get the crowd all hyped up. College game day before the game they make sure to put a camera on the hyped up entrance they have. But Antoine again with a $10 super chat, appreciate it. The one conference where you will see a serious turnaround, the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, and Iowa will take a dive. Maryland, Northwestern, and Rutgers will start to rise. Ohio State and Michigan, they own the Big Ten. They are juggernaut and will always be juggernauts within that conference.
Yes,
take a dive. Iowa, they could fluctuate. Rutgers taking over. Northwestern, no. They're not going to rise. You see Illinois rising before Northwestern. Maryland and Rutgers, you better in basketball, I'm assuming. They may surprise you here and there, but them taking the only one team out of the three you mentioned is Iowa. They just do a good job of developing tight ends. But Michigan and Ohio State, no. That's like saying somebody going to overtake UT and Oklahoma down here. They are sold.
Yeah. What you think about this comment of Peace of My Mind? She said players from back in the day were more isolated and not everyone had access to them. What y'all think
What
about
she
that?
what she was getting at about that, as far as like access to them via social
Are you talking
media or
about
media.
particular sports or just all,
Like,
football, basketball?
are you talking about like also like segregated as far as like I know it wasn't common for players to leave their region at a certain point. Like I know like that was like a because I'll put it like this, if this is what she's saying, Mac Brown put a great emphasis when he was at Texas doing a great run of getting the top guys in state and the top guys not leaving. Even though ironically one of the best players in Texas history is from California. I was surprised when I found out that Ricky Williams is from California. I was so surprised when I found that out growing up, and I was just like, I never knew that. But it's just like things have changed. Like I know Ohio dominates, obviously Ohio, that whole region. Like I know I had a professor that he was just like he made a slight at Penn State because he was just like he called it something, whatever region it is to Ohio. He said he calls it basically we call it East Ohio because we go in there and we get whatever we want. And I was like, damn, they do. For the most part,
Ohio State plays some good football. I mean, Ohio got some good
Well,
football.
it looked like she was clarifying a little bit, winning for clout versus winning for love and the game of sport.
Game of sport.
Well, in the past, I mean, you saw if you watched 30 for 30, you saw SMU do it. Money has always been, if they had the talent, getting paid behind the scenes was always a factor in college football. Now, I admit, in today's college football, it's a perfect storm with the NIL and how transfer portal is. It's. I mean, they obviously today's they have more access because of NIL alone, but it's not the same as back in the day because they're not as loyal to a franchise, and I can't really get on the players about loyalty.
No, you can't be mad at the players.
And they have the ability
coaches
to
are not
lose.
as loyal neither. You see coaches tell a player, "Hey, I'm gonna be here." Literally, next year over.
Who was it? Tommy Tuberville. He left in the middle of a recruiting trip. He took a job in the middle of a recruiting trip. So it's like I go both ways on it. So peace be mind, great comment. But like I do think I feel sometimes some players are, and then I do think they use certain things to play on some people's, not yours at all, but I see some people's sensibilities, like Trey Wisner. I wish we had the picture.
Hold on, Dante. Hold on.
All them diamonds on his neck, and they were showing him on the sidelines, and they just had to say it. They had to say something about it. They had to.
Listen, peace of my mind. Listen. Okay, yes. They were isolated because they wasn't getting paid like that, right? You had, if you go watch a movie, Blue Chip, they paid certain players behind the scene, like, the top 10 players in the country, they all got paid behind the scenes. They got houses, bought cars, all that. What they doing now is everybody has the ability to make some money. Even the second best player, the third best player can get a NIL deal of a couple $100,000. So if you got a son or a nephew that's good in sports, make sure he keep his grades up. Make sure you become the agent, sort of. Make sure ain't nobody trying to take his money. And get him a free scholarship, graduate college. Maybe he make it, maybe he don't. He can become an agent with a college degree, have 4 or 5 LeBron James and Steph Curry's on his team and make all kinds of millions and won't even get injured. And you can go sit in the box seat with your hair flying out in the wind.
Now, one thing I will admit about today's players, they just don't have, like I say, the perfect storm with the NIL and transfer.
NIL. Everybody go to college, get some of that NIL, man. For real.
They don't, and you see it when they get into the professionals, because you see it in college basketball as well. They don't have the development or the mental fortitude because as soon as they get some playing time taken away from them or whatnot, they hit that transfer portal quick. Yeah. So they don't build like character or whatnot per se, to really develop their skill set to fight for that job. So that's the only thing in today's, I mean, yes, they get paid. I mean, some of them, not all those contracts are good contracts, though. Some of them get taken advantage of. But yeah, it's a perfect storm to how, I guess, what's in the past.
So question to both of y'all, right? Y'all got children, right? They ready to go to college, right? They play a sport. They play a nice little sport, volleyball, track, or whatever. Do y'all take the highest bidder, or do y'all put y'all 2 cents in and say no, baby, stay close to daddy?
Yeah.
Or do she go to California and get paid 1.2 million?
There is a
I
list of schools that I will not. I was talking to my wife about
No,
this.
okay,
There's a
come
list of
on,
schools
man.
I won't. No. I'm not letting my child play for Ole Miss, the Rebels. No, sir. Not the team that put their players out there in Confederate uniforms.
Okay,
Confederate.
yeah.
No, they are not. I don't care if they gave me $5 million.
Okay, I got you.
There's
No, Ole Miss.
certain schools I know, but even though that, if it's schools that I don't like, that I disdain so much, like Oklahoma, if they come in with the bag, and Texas is not coming in with the bag, and it's people, and it's like, hey, it's a good program, it's gonna take a long hard thought, because I'm like, if like my son or my daughter go on a recruiting trip, and they're like, hey, I love it here, I'm not gonna overrule in that regard. I'm not gonna be like that mama that where her son wanted to go to Alabama. She wanted to go to LSU, so she had the LSU.
You gonna have an Oklahoma jersey?
Yeah, if they going, they signing, you got me to the day my son leaves or daughter leaves. But until then, you got me. After that, I'm gone. Because I will say this, I do like that Oklahoma. If it is, they are a Jordan brand school, so I get to get the PE edition.
Oh Lord,
I'm gonna
Jesus.
be PE edition up. What are you talking about?
You
What
gonna
do you
be
mean, Coach Ferd? I'm gonna be player editioned out until my son or daughter number, anything on there. Because because my daughter definitely told me she wants to get out there for volleyballs.
Coach,
I
ask me that question again.
So your baby right there, right? Track star, man. I'm talking about Shakari Richardson, FloJo Speed, man. What school does she go? What school would you allow her to go to, and what school would you not allow her to go to? Dante said his child couldn't go to Ole Miss, regardless of what they've offered. Do you have a?
Well, my whole thing, I think I heard this on the radio this morning, which actually is a good point. It depends on the school, but my whole thing is I want if she has legit talent. Now, if you just
She got
up,
the legit talent,
yeah,
Shawnee.
if she
It's
has
down to
legit talent, that
going
means
where you going. She got it.
So to me, it's not really the school because I don't really just follow one particular school like that. But to me, it's not the school, it's the person, the coach. I want her to go to the school where I believe she will get the best coaching, the best chance for the development. Because if she has the skills, like legit skills, and under the right development and the coaching, she'll have a chance to go professional. So that's where I'll be looking. The NIL, she will obviously get that. Now the amount may vary, but I want her to go to the school that has the best teaching. So
So Shawnee, you want her to go to that school. She wants to go to the school where Dante's daughter's going, and she wants to be there with her and get those same things. Do you approve that move?
if I feel like the coaching staff
It,
is
it,
not up
it
to
ain't
par,
it ain't about what you feel. It's about her taking our chance for an opportunity. She's there. She's ready to go. She's ready to sign. She got the top 5 schools in the country, and one of them is the school that has that culture, but the other 4 don't. And she chooses. Would you accept her choice, whichever school she chooses?
if that's her choice, then yeah, because by that time she's grown. Now,
Oh gosh.
my whole thing, because if she got her heart set on that school, then she's gonna go to that school. And then, like they say, experience is gonna be the best teacher. Then
There you go.
if it works out for you, you happen to get both the experience and you feel like your game is improving because what the film not gonna lie, you're gonna be able to tell if your game improving in whatever respective sport you play. And if you go there and if it's not working out like you should, maybe you can hit the transfer portal. But maybe I'll be like,
Oh Lord.
by that time though, I'll be like, you made this decision because you basically asking me, okay, am I stepping in or letting my kid control their future? So I'm like, okay, this is the decision you make, honor it, and figure something out to get your development because you're not. If you asking me, I'm not gonna want her to be flip flopping universities because you not liking. Nah, you made this decision. You basically was following your friend or whatever to one school with an
So you
opportunity.
just gonna torture about what she did. Huh?
Well, I won't because now
You just
you
gonna
gotta
torture.
teach her commitment because now it's because if you asking me if I had
Sonny,
influence
listen.
in
She
the
goes.
beginning, she would go
Yeah.
towards the teaching. But if I'm like,
Okay.
okay, she's grown, let
Well,
her make her decision. She told school A instead of school B. I'm gonna let her to go to school A. But like, okay, you this now because I got the old school mentality of you honor your commitment. That's me. That's me personally. So if you're gonna go to
right.
school A and you chose this school,
She
and
goes
I'm
to the
pretty sure in
school.
the background I'm telling her school B could be potentially better for your development, but you still gonna choose school A. Go to school A. Now I'm expecting you to keep your commitment, your word, unless something just crazy happens, which
Okay,
does
son.
happen sometimes.
Yeah, because
So
what I
now,
oh, let me
I
put
just
in. Let me say this. I feel what Shawnee's saying on that because if you look at it, I know we talk about the NFL and the transfer portal a lot. We don't talk about enough about how half the players that go in stay in because a lot of the players that go in, some of those players that are going in, they're not going in with a guarantee. The guys that are coming out, surprise, they're going in with a guarantee from a school. Or like Texas one time, a player went into the portal and it was Adonai Mitchell from Georgia. He wanted to come home and be closer to home. So they knew he was going to the portal. They had the money set up and everything. So that is a third point. The players that have the most success are the guys that go to a school and leave a school. Go look at the draft. You're going to see the Cam Wards, the exceptions. But the guys that the other guys are up there, a lot of them stayed at their
Jaden
school.
Daniels.
They stared at their school. And a lot of the teams that are at the top,
hold
those are the
on,
teams that stay with their players. That's just one. I want this so I
So
understand Johnny on that point.
okay, so I was going to say this before you know what I'm saying, jumped in, because with Shani, she goes to the school you want her to get that teaching, right? But when
Hmm.
she gets to the school, that teaching ain't being given to her and she decides to transfer. Can she transfer at that point?
I mean, she can.
I mean,
The
Shani,
option,
listen, I
the,
know
no,
what
no,
this
the option to transfer is always going to be there, regardless what school she goes. Because if she wants to transfer, she's going to transfer. Now, if you asking me like how, where I'm a pusher, I would like for her to honor her commitment with whatever school she
well,
go to,
she
school
go
A,
to.
school B. Now, like I mentioned, if this is like a bad fit, where in terms of like a whole lot of stuff that goes on, and just it's just totally just a wrong decision, and outside of just playing time and whatnot, then yes, hit the portal. 'Cause you see some of that sometimes. Sometimes it's just a complete bad fit and the coach or whatnot. And what now? One thing, because we just mentioned loyalty on the coach's standpoint. Yeah, many times you are going to a particular school because of the head coach, and if they leave, then okay, then so there's some other factors that can be there to you know determine with the transfer portal. But me, I'd be like, hit the transfer portal. I believe should be your last option. So if you could stay committed, stay committed. But I understand that certain factors may be like, okay, maybe you do need to transfer. Because it feel like to me, it's like it feel like enter the transfer portal kind of takes some off your lifeline, if that makes any sense. Like, will you? Because one, you don't really have a control where you're gonna go when you hit the transfer portal. You kind of go into the abyss and
But you
hope.
do have a sort of
Well,
a
sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like you
I
may
mean,
hit it too
most people
late.
because most of them are going to the portal for the money. They're looking for the highest bidder, and they sort of
Yeah,
count it.
But
So
it's multiple things. A lot are going for the money,
for that
but a
money,
lot are going for, hey man, this opportunity not working out over here. Like one player that I want Texas to go on the portal and get because they need speed at receiver is the receiver at Williams, Ryan Williams from Bama. I want him to go get him because it looks like probably gonna lose to Georgia this week. Just going to Georgia, that's a tough game. If they pull that out, they pull it out. But Some
Where's
guys
he from?
for opportunity. Like when all those guys left Bama, they left Bama because Saban left. Like the only reason Isaiah Bond came is because Caleb Downs went over to Ohio State. They wasn't leaving per se for money; they were leaving for opportunity. So I would say that's the number 2 reason. But a lot of guys are leaving for like a hybrid of both. Because sometimes if you like, I will say this: Texas Tech, and we should have this conversation later on when we get to the offseason. Texas Tech is a dangerous team. They have a billionaire. That's the guy that sold his company, billionaire. And he is funding the Texas Tech athletics. That's the one I told you that had to tackle Felix Ojo. He was in the competition with Texas, and the word came out late. It was like, yeah, he's going to Texas Tech, and they gave him a 3-year, $5 million deal. Texas was like, hey, I'm not going to pay that because if I pay, the thing is, we're going to notice is if you pay one guy a lot, the other guys on Texas Tech roster that are going to help them make a bowl game this year, they're going to say, hey, it's renegotiation time, and you're going to get 10 guys coming at you saying, hey, I need this money, I need that money. That's what. But Texas Tech, this is only the second 5-star that they've ever gotten. The other one was during the NIL era was Michael Hudson, who left.
I heard
and came back.
I heard because they are really investing in that team now. That's why you see it. That's why they 4 or 5-0 right now.
Yeah,
4-0, ranked number 12.
And then and just knocked off Utah at home. Not an easy place to play. A good, tough, really good, sound team, and they beat them. And with Texas and Oklahoma gone, hey man, you'll see they have a chance to make a full hold. And my thing is, what I want from the Big 12 teams is, I want Texas Tech, I want TCU, the hometown team. I want them to be there at the top. Don't let the Colorados and Arizona State come in here and win this damn conference. Even Oklahoma State, like keep it with the teams that won there. Don't even if Baylor want to jump in there and get back good, don't let these guys.
Basically,
come in there.
Texas Tech is taking Ohio State's method last year when they spent all that money, and many people thought, okay, you basically then bought that title because you spent so much money on that team. Texas Tech is taking that same formula over there. They did the same thing in softball when they played
they did. When they got their
pitcher.
Yeah,
they almost won.
They almost won it all.
They almost won, but
they
the
third game, didn't
they literally had that poor girl. I don't want to say poor girl. She probably signed up for it. She pitched every game. And then ultimately, who was that? Texas.
Texas knocked them off.
Yeah, they figured it out. So they spending money at that school now.
Spending money, like they got it,
regardless of the sport.
And they switched
instead of spending money.
They switched the athletic provider from Adidas to Under Armour because Patrick Mahomes is a big, they're probably their best alum, football wise right now. I mean, obviously what he's done, but they are a problem, and it would have been interesting to see if they did stay in the Big 12. If Texas did stay in the Big 12, I'd have liked to see that money fight between those schools and battling for guys. But you're gonna have they're gonna notice that they're gonna have to. Texas feels like, from what I've heard from watching Texas sites, they feel like they are allocating the money the correct way, where some teams are getting overextended and they're gonna get guys to leave. Because a big thing about after the season's over, especially if you playing into the playoff, you have to then negotiate with your own guys that have stepped up, that want raises to match what other guys getting, because everybody knows who makes what, and so you have to keep the guys. So you have to have, what do they call now, the general manager to come and talk to guys like, hey, this is what we got. This is where we at. This is what we got for you. Or I say do it ahead of time. Just come in and be like, hey, got a new deal for you. Keep you happy. Don't answer your cell phone. Don't let your agent answer your phone. I got this money for you right here. And I think that's the best way to do it.
I would be a bad, general manager. You know why? Because everybody gonna get the same amount of money. And if not, keep it moving. We're gonna build off of this. We're gonna get the same.
You end up like Clemson 1-3.
Dabo
1-3.
I'm gonna give y'all everybody. I might have maybe a quarterback, running back, lineman, receiver, but linebacker, they're the same NFL. But man, everybody's getting paid, man. Now you come in and I would start with mostly freshmen and sophomores. If that's how we're gonna do that. But that's just me, man. Shit. I'll take a job right now. I'll take any of those jobs that's open, and y'all gonna have to be my assistants. I'm gonna give y'all first right of refusal. Shawnee, you gonna take the receivers. Dante, you gonna have to take. I don't know. I have to see how you block or tackle. You gonna be a line coach.
I'm a O-line coach. I'm an O-line coach.
Brother Benny gonna be the strength coach.
Yeah,
you gonna be the strength coach.
I tell you, one of the craziest some guys you ever want to meet is a strength and conditioning coach at a college. Like, man, I remember I was I went to the Texas camp when I was in when I was my sophomore year. After my sophomore year going into junior, I went to the camp and I was so intimidated by the strength and conditioning coach. Like, we would walk around, I was like, man, this guy I was like, I'd do everything for him. Like, I'd be more scared of him than my position coach. That dude, and he was a big old guy too. Like, it was crazy because that was a time when I want to say, yeah, Vince Young was there. Because I want to say I was at the camp and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm telling you, that's the next big thing. And I was like, man, damn it, if he didn't prove me right. Like two Texas players proved me right to my pops. Him and Kevin Durant. We stayed up late. I showed him about Kevin Durant. And I was like, I'm telling you. And he was like, he came away impressed. I was like, it's hard to impress your pops. I was like, man, at least I know showed him I know a little something. But
so fellas, look like we coming towards the end of the show. So
yes, sir.
So I guess we can do our final thoughts, go around the final thoughts. So I don't really have too much, but I guess my final thought would be, I'm just gonna go over my poor Houston Astros, man. It looks like I'm starting to witness a kind of an end of a championship era with them, man. They had a good run, man. What, eight straight ALCSs, either 7 or 8 straight. 4 World Series appearances, and it was over a lot of homegrown players that they had, and then once they came up for their contract, they all got paid, so the Astros just couldn't afford them anymore. So yeah, they look like, I don't even know. It looked like we may not be able to make the playoffs this year. It'll be the first time in a long time. We're not going to be since 2020. Which was a shortened COVID season, which we won't be AL West champions. So, it was long. Injuries ransacked through the team this year. I mean, I think they said something like the Astros probably was the most injured team in MLB history this season. We lost everybody. So at one time we had a triple. We damn near brought Sugarland Space Squad up to be our team. Man, we had so much AAA players on our team. So. It was good while it lasted, but it's such a sting because of the recent, long performances. And I saw it coming because when we lost to the Tigers last year, when they got swept in the wild card series, I'm like, yeah, our championship window closed. So that's my final thoughts.
I can't even gloat because we missing the playoffs too. We missed the playoffs with the Rangers. But what I'll say is, obviously, I got my headline where it says when does basketball season start. So I'll make it brief with the Cowboys. Man, it's not looking too good with injuries and everything. It's too early to do mock drafts. But it's looking rough for my Cowboys. But my main point is my Prairie View A&M Panthers State Fair Classic this weekend against Grambling State University. One of the biggest classic games that the HBCUs have. It's going to be 50,000. Half, just like I know in the other games, it's going to be half black and gold, half purple and gold for us. And so I think we're gonna get a win. But it's just great as far as the State Fair in Texas is a big deal, and it kicks off on Friday, and then you have the State Fair Classic the next day. So just being able to experience that from the players, seeing that and that atmosphere, your fans, battle of the bands, fans eating fair food and all that. It's a really great experience, and it's really been great because over the last, I know Grambling has the all-time edge in the series, but over the last 10 years or so, Prairie View has a dominant edge. Like I remember the promo 2 years ago was we were going for our 6th straight victory, and it was like, and then they broke. And then last year it was a 5 overtime game, which I will say this: nothing is more stressful than the new overtime format with the going for two. With the going for two, that shit is stressful, and we pulled it out. So hopefully this year it's a lot less stressful. But Coach Furr, kick it to you, man.
Man, listen, man. First of all,
it's disgusting.
Week 4 in the NFL, so don't panic. Everybody's going to be 2-2. And 3-1 this coming week. So make sure you bet your money right. But no, man, just real quick, man, you know, this is sports season for me, man. Like I said, I've been doing some interviews, man. I had one today for girls varsity. It went pretty good. I thought it went pretty good. There was about 8 people. It only lasted about 15, 20 minutes, man. I had a whole presentation. They went around and asked their little questions. The assistant principals, the athletic directors, a couple of teachers. That went pretty cool. You know, I answered the questions, you know, according to how I want to, you know, be a coach. And we'll see. I gave them another resume outside of sports, so we'll see if they look at. I also have another interview next month, actually Friday, for my alma mater high school. So that'll be interesting right there. But I got a position in the middle school. And I'm just waiting to see, man. I'm trying to see if I get one of these high schools. I'm at the let the middle school know, like, I can't do it. But yeah, man, salute to everybody, man. Everybody, again, man, it's fall sports, man. Don't panic, especially football fans. Get in good shape, man. Work out over the winter.
Well, all right, everybody. Appreciate y'all for joining us tonight, and wish Mr. Bennett safe travels while he's overseas in different countries, living a life. So I guess with that, we make room for the next show. So I guess we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Hey, yo, I go hard, I'ma go yard, I be dripped out every day. I'm too clean to be fucking around with you dirty hoes anyway. And they all want me to smash, but I'm cool on it, I pass. Because everybody in my zip code done had that ass. You ever told a girl you like her and you really don't? Cause you just realize her friend is who you really want. She got that pretty face you like in the trunk that's full of junk. Ain't think her dress could look that good until she put it on. She want a rock star, I say, baby, put my footage on. I seen them niggas shooting, they shot it till they bullets gone. Let me tell you something about myself, I always stood alone. You ain't no shit about my hood until I put it on. Rockstar.